Hello and a warm welcome back to the Wender Cast with your hosts Jimbo and Calvinator. We won't be discussing some other updates, transfers and developments this week. We've got something different on show for you all today. As always, we'll do the financial advice statement. None of what we chat about is financial advice. Do your own scouting or hire a director of Metaverse Football. Something a bit different today, Calva, because at the time of this being released, I'm probably recovering from a Spanish wedding, so I'm not around to record, not around to edit, so we've got to do double recording. So what the last week's episode and this week's episode are back-to-back, essentially, recording-wise.
We're warmed up already, you can say.
Yes, so we've got an autumn Q&A. We like to do these quarterly, and they usually come around during the sort of like the festive periods or the summer periods where, you know, we might be on holiday in the summer, you know, might be away in you know, over Christmas, those sort of things. And they're really nice to do because we get really great engagement from the community with regards to questions, and we get to sort of just do a kind of really chilled out episode, really. So what we did is we ran a giveaway on our Twitter, and to enter, you had to submit a question and follow us and repost and all that sort of thing. But you had to submit a question. And we've got 28 questions. And rather than do a wheel to pick which question we do first, I've simply asked ChatGPT, can you give me a random sequence of numbers between 1 and 28? And it's given me those right now. So I'm going to go through the numbers. Calva's going to read the question, and then we're going to answer all your questions. At the end of it, we will announce the two winners of the two players.
Yeah, we'll spin the wheel twice for
the winners.
Yeah,
for the winners.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really fun. Like it's always fun to do those Q&As, right? For me to have like so many different questions, different angles. Some people have very creative things we never thought about or never talked about. So yeah, really great. And the final thing, just for fun, it's how do you think you're doing in the breakaway?
How do I think I'm doing? Yes, because this will be released on the 14th of October, and we're recording this on Sunday the 6th. So if any events have happened between now and then, and we're not talking about them, and you're going, why is the Wender Cast not talking about any updates? Yes. We're sorry, it's because I'm in Spain.
Drinking sangria
and a wedding, and then going to Porto for some little Portuguese natas.
I love port, by the way. Drink some port.
Well, I'm going to try and go to a couple of the port houses. Try and convince the girlfriend to go.
Very nice.
How am I doing? I reckon. Surely I've got to stoop low, because if I do better than it, it's an improvement. I reckon I'm mid-table league, and I'm top 2, if not first, in my cup group. And the Alpha Champions, I don't really want to think about, because I don't know how the bracket's going to look. I could be absolutely rustled already. So, mid-table, I'm in a qualifying position out of the group stage of the cup, and I'm not knocked out of the Alpha Champions.
That sounds good.
Good. I'm sounding hopeful. It's going to all go
pear-shaped. How many breakaway tickets?
I don't know, but I'm going to save them all for a stream. So that's what I'm
gonna do. Exactly. Yeah, we're gonna when this airs, maybe in the week after that, or like at the last day of the breakaway, maybe we'll do all of the whole wheel. Yeah. Well, from all my 8 clubs, I have no idea. I just hope to win a lot of tickets and do well with the teams that I have carefully prepared to do well, such as Korsakov and Navigators. So that's my main goal. But let's see. Let's start answering questions. What's the first number?
Number 16, please, Calvinator.
Number 16 is from MCU Yaoundé. Which team do you support IRL?
Ooh, very nice one. I'll go first, nice and easy. And I've got a spin-off question for you after this. I support Norwich City through and through. Have done my whole life. Nice and easy one. No, surprise. That's my team I support. Calva, what about yourself?
Well, this is a bit of a tough one because
flip-flop?
born and raised. Yeah, exactly. I was born and raised in Eindhoven. But my parents, they're both from Rotterdam area. So I was always like this kind of, like I wanted to be special. So I always said like Feyenoord, like I'm a Feyenoord fan. And then all my PSV classmates would go crazy. So just to be the contrarian. But yeah, as a result, I've been kind of flip-flopping. And I'm just, one thing is sure, I'm against Ajax. So in the Dutch league, I don't want Ajax to win. And whether it's Feyenoord or PSV, I'm happy with both. Depends a bit how they play and their coach. Right now, I love PSV again because Bos is a great coach and he has a very nice philosophy. So I'm back to supporting PSV from my hometown. But very I have flip-flopped a lot in my life between clubs. Okay.
Norwich and PSV are our two clubs we support. Just one small one. Is there do you have like a second team that you sort of, a bit favourable? You sort of follow them, that sort of thing?
Hard to say. Well, from each league, I have kind of one or two teams I have some kind of connection with. So the Bundesliga, I like Union Berlin a lot because I went to their stadium and their match and their crowd was absolutely nuts. So I love their story as a club. So, and in Italy, I like Atalanta because they had a lot of great Dutch players and also great philosophy. In England, I tend to like now Liverpool because of Arne Slot.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, like the Dutch coach.
Yeah.
And in the past, Arsenal with like Bergkamp, Van Persie, that era. I also like them. So not City. I hate money and Saudi Arabian or Sheikh money.
Yeah.
So I have some sympathies now here and there.
Okay. For me, I went to university at Chester, who were in the National League North. National League at the time, they got relegated, I think. And I went to a couple of their games. Went to an away game as well in the non-league. So they're always a team that I will, because I went to university there for 4 years. And then non-league, I follow them a bit as well.
Nice. Yeah, that's great.
Right. Next. Number 5, please, sir.
Number 5 is from J. Mendes. How will longevity affect players' prices? Good question. So players are getting older and older. How will it affect their price?
So I guess it's all about retirement, really, isn't it? And how long they're going to be lasting as a player for. And the longevity is 0 to 10. And is it something like when a player hits 31 or 32?
Yeah.
And then 30 maybe? 32. And the longevity 0 to 10 is almost like years, I think, isn't it? Or something like that. Where it's like,
yeah, I think it's something like 1 to 10. So you could have like a 42 or a 40. Well, let's say between 1 and 10. Whether it's 30 to 40 or 32 to 42. So at some point they enter the possible retirement age and you have older players. But this is hidden, so you only know it when they retire.
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, longevity itself might not affect prices because you only know it afterwards. What will affect is their retirement announcement, when it might be, we don't know.
Yeah.
And their age. So what do you think about potential retirement announcements plus age?
I think
for prices.
I think for the price bit, I think it's natural, a bit like real life. When a player gets older, naturally their price comes down because they are past their prime, they're past their best performances, that sort of thing. So in that sense, you wouldn't expect a 34-year-old when they hit 35 to go up in price, unless they're crazy, or something drastic happens, right? But that's how I think it will, not directly. I guess it's kind of longevity affects player price, but it's more like the age of the player as they get older. But you're right, longevity itself doesn't influence player price. It shouldn't do because you don't really know it until it's happened. But as players get older, you can naturally assume that a player's price will not increase.
Yeah, and I'm curious about retirement. Let's say if you only have 1 or 2 more seasons with this player, what will happen to the prices? They will still have some value.
Yeah.
Imagine you could get a retiring legendary for 1 or 2 seasons in your team for a very low price. I think that still has a lot of value. to have like such a veteran in there. So it will drop, but the rate.
We're assuming it will drop. I don't think we can say it will drop. We're assuming. We're assuming
it's logical. It will drop. Right? It's logical. It's like the law of economic law, I think. But okay, let's move on.
24, please, sir.
24 is from Wilfred Mack. How excited are you for player progression?
I'm really excited. And I'm nervous, but like a excited nervous as well, because I'm really excited for player progression because you get to see players improve. You get to see the number go up. The overall rarity can change. Your players progress. They get better. They could be more valuable, so you could maybe sell them, bring in more players. That sustainability piece for clubs. But I'm kind of excited, nervous because I don't really know how it's going to go in terms of until you're actually doing it for real. That's when you get a grip on it. So I think it's the unknown of not trying it out, which makes me sort of nervous, but excited nervous at the same time because everyone's in the same situation there.
Yeah, I'm also a bit like I'm excited for players to get better, but then I'm also a bit scared for them to retire. So it's also a bit like stressful. Like, oh no, what we talked about in the previous episode. Like, am I gonna get max out of them? Do they have the right club? So it will add a whole other layer of kind of like management to it. So I'm also I'm excited for it, of course. It's an essential part of the game, but I'm also a bit tiny, like almost like a little stress and a little anxious, like, no, what's going to happen? Will I do it right? So about this unknown especially. But we're both pretty excited. It will be a very important part of the game.
Mm-hmm. Next one, 19, please.
19 is from Rich2086, and he asks, "What's the best advice for a new manager?"
Oh my, we really should do an updated playing MFL or getting to know MFL one. Could be episode 36, Palmer. Where we talk about onboarding into MFL and tips and tricks, that sort of tops and tips for you, tips and tricks, that sort of thing. Actually, I think it's our most listened to episode, by the way. So if you are new, episode 36, we go through onboarding and what it's like being a new manager and how to.
Yeah, maybe for season 1 we should do a new one because it's totally different.
Definitely. Best advice. First of all, sounds really cliche and obvious, but read the white paper. Some white papers in Web3, like cryptocurrencies and things, seem a bit, bit hard to understand. It's all like token cryptocurrency stuff, but actually for Web3 game, this is more understanding like the fundamentals of MFL and getting to learn more about the game. It's actually a really useful resource to understand. So that would be my best advice. And then, if you want to get yourself a club and take part, you can and try some of the contracts, but never with anything invest more than you're willing to lose. Not financial advice. I guess it's financial advice. Not financial advice. Sensible advice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was one of my tips. Is like, you don't have to overspend. Maybe don't overspend. Like, I see some new managers entering and they're immediately buying an ice club pack, and they're buying 18 to 25 players, while you could get a much cheaper club from the market, even in a higher tier, for less than 80. Plus, just go to scouting and you can sign 18 players for maybe, like lower ones definitely for like 2-3%, and you don't even have to spend a penny on that. So maybe don't overspend, and then just see how it goes, and then start spending when you know what makes sense to buy. So I think, and of course, join Discord and just ask all your questions there. I think that is the biggest tip, is just go there. And even some people are like, oh, sorry, this is probably a dumb question. No, nothing is a dumb question.
No, the community's rock solid here. There's no dumb questions. Plenty of resources, the podcast, your YouTube videos, other people's content. Everyone's just willing to help. And so if you ever got there's no question is too stupid, too big. So just let us know.
Yes. Next one.
Number one.
This is a funny one. MFL asked when 3D.
Next week 3D gets released.
3D, yes.
There you go. Have that one, Yaks. Do that in a week.
It will be there. I think there's also another question we had about 3D. But we'll get there later. Yeah. Maybe you can talk about it more.
Number 12.
Number 12. This is an easy one. When player progression?
Nice and easy. Season 1.
Season 1. Okay, next one.
Season 1. 27. My lucky number. 27.
27 is from not Team MFL, is Big Team MFL. So that's someone else. How do you explain... Oh, this is an interesting one. How do you explain so many player departures when the Season 1 is just around the corner? And are you worried about the future?
I guess he's referring to some people. I don't really know much about this because I have the buying and the selling channels in Discord just muted, so I don't always get the pings from them and all of... I hate seeing it like a white text that I've got a misread message. I just have them muted. But player departures, how to explain it? I think maybe... if there are people leaving, they may not have time to play MFL anymore. There's those sort of things. I know a couple of people who, maybe doing studies or traveling or things like that haven't got the time to play, so it's natural for them to come out. Am I worried about the future? No, not at all. I think we're in safe hands. Safe hands. We've got some good chefs, some good cooks at the kitchen. I'm personally not worried at all.
I'm also not worried, and also the team is not. Right now, they just cherish this first alpha testing community. So they're also not doing tons of aggressive marketing to get a lot of people in. It's more like organic process. And if some people join and they don't like it, they don't have the time and they leave, that's okay. That's no problem.
I mean, at the end of the day, as long as the arrivals is more than the departures, then we're growing.
Yes.
We're good.
Yeah. But also the game is not even finished yet, right? So it's a bit hard to attract people with that. But why? I think there's, of course, some people would just leave. Well, I think I have two answers. One, people leave, because maybe there was someone said, I have a wedding, I have budget, or some financial problems, or no time, or family. There's loads of reasons. I think other people were in there to make a quick buck, but player prices have remained fairly stable for a longer period. So I guess they got tired of that. Like, oh no, I cannot make this quick buck, so they're out. And then the second thing is just as humans, we have a huge bias towards bad news over good news. Good news we totally ignore and we take it for granted, while bad news we kind of focus on too much. Plus, people who leave, they keep spamming the same channel. So it seems like 20 people are leaving, while it's just the same 5 people sending that same message 4 times.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a bias that it seems like a lot of people were leaving, but in the end, it's not that much. Plus, all their players keep getting bought when they leave, so that's also a sign of a healthy community in game.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's wraps it up. Next one.
Number 6, please.
Number 6 is from Sorare Club, or Boom Sorare. I like this question. Who will win Diamond League Season 1?
Cracking question. I'm going to be really, really boring. And I want to say Meta Mercenaries, but I think that's... Dio wins Season 1. No, he doesn't even know. He's in Diamond League anymore. It's a horrendous answer. He's not in the Diamond League. I'm so used to Michele Milano being Dio. Technically, that did win last year, didn't it? Last season. God, that's horrendous for me there. No, I'll go back. I think Ronan wins it. I think the class stands out.
I would say Atletico Tango, because Big Wilbert was so kind of... his season was so bad before. That now he got this motivation to really go for it. So I say Atletico Tango.
23.
23 is from Designer Shop 63. What should we prioritize and be cautious about in the new breakaway season?
good
you
thing.
You will hear this question when it's already too late.
Yeah.
This answer. But
maybe we'll have to reply to that one on Twitter and say, listen to our most recent episode, or 2 episodes ago, and we literally discussed all this on episode 57 with the breakaway.
But we can be quick with this, I think.
Prioritize what your team looks like in terms of stats and where you're going to be putting players. I think that's kind of the key one. It's all to do with relative strength. So, be careful of this. It's all based on average, so be careful about your average. Be cautious about that. And prioritize cup-winning teams, league-winning teams over teams, your clubs, if you have multiple who did not win anything. Yeah.
But it's already outdated, so we can move
on. Number 15, please.
15 is from Gazel. What has been your most successful formation?
So I keep this nice and short and sweet. I have 2 clubs who both run different primary formations, but they both run the same secondary formation. So you could argue that the secondary formation is our most favourite, most successful, because they both run it, which is 3-5-2. But the Wyverns, who are my main team, play a 4-2-3-1 for the last 5 seasons, and that's been my most successful and my favourite formation.
Nice. Well, last season I won the double with Korsakov, so I think that's also the most trophies I won with one team. And they play in a 5-2-3 with wingbacks, which I
part of the bus,
like.
Part of the bus.
So, no, they're very attacking wingbacks, high passing, loads of assists. But let's say 5-2-3. Yeah, 5-2-3. Next one.
14. The one before.
14, one above, is from ZCHRV. How important is the relation between the country of a player and the country of the team?
I guess the shortest answer is there is no relation at all.
Yeah, at the moment, nothing. That's a short answer. Long answer, in the future there might be some chemistry elements added to the game, and then it might matter, but we still don't know how.
Yeah. Between players, but not between player and club. Well, we don't know, actually.
We don't know. Maybe I personally would love to have a little bit of that also as an added thing. Like if an English team plays with like all English lads, don't you think that's a bit better for chemistry than foreigners, like a whole foreign legion of 25 random?
But then my argument would be like, look at Man City and count how many British people are on that, and English people are on that squad.
Yeah,
that's what a national team's for.
True. Yeah, no, I
think players. I think cohesion between nationalities within a team, definitely. But
also with this cohesion or chemistry, I would personally favor rather to have a bonus for players who've been playing together for longer. I think that matters way more. Like if you did a team sport and you have like some teammates and you've been playing with them for 5 years, you know exactly how they run and where to pass the ball. Yeah. So that could be a little bonus. Short answer, nothing. No effect.
Nothing. But watch this space potentially. Number 4, please.
4 from Nikhil, Tiger Association. What is the main thing for a manager to keep in mind for the transition phase from alpha to the start of regular mode? So I guess season 1. Well,
well, we did last episode. We spoke about this, but I think I'll do one maybe, and then you could do one unless we've got the same one. The main thing to keep in mind for transition, I think, is from a club ownership point of view, which most of us will be, is the balance of the overrules within your club, because that will impact player progression on a match basis and on a training basis. That's actually the key thing. I think that's literally the key thing.
Yeah, exactly. Team overall. Well, I will just repeat what we said in our previous episode. Is just make clear for yourself what are your priorities. Are you going for player progression or for promotion, what are your goals? And then start making decisions based on that. So you have to keep in mind, I think, that you cannot get it all. You cannot have most player progression and promotion and the most MFL and the most value of your assets. So you have to make some sacrifices. So make that clear for yourself. What do I prioritize and which sacrifice am I willing to make?
Yeah. Number 17, please.
17 is from Super Funny. What is your favorite player in your... Yeah, the question is desk, so I guess your agency. So in your agency...
My favorite player is probably one that I've not even touched for 9 seasons, which will probably be...
Romo
and Arango. They're my two favourite players. Yeah. Neither of which I've ever managed before in any of the seasons, which I think is quite funny. But they're the ones with the most potential. One's 17 years old, 77 rated striker. The other one's a 16-year-old, 74 rated. So I think they're my biggest potential, and I can't wait to see them progress, because it won't be with me. I'll still own them, but they won't be progressing with me. So I've got to pick carefully who I give them to.
Little hint.
Yeah.
No guarantees. For me, I feel like we had this question before, and well, my standard answer is always Gil Bessa, my Portuguese striker, who's really great, or Alberto Dure, who's been with me from almost I think it's like one of the first uncommons actually I had. And he's been one of the starting players for Calva Juniors for like 8 Alpha seasons. And he'll probably stay with them for season 1, 2. And I really like him, his profile. And he's also 19 years old, so still a lot of potential. So I would say Alberto Dure.
I'm going to... sorry, number 20, please.
Number 20. 20 is really fun. Celcinho, he asked ... question mark. ... question mark.
I've actually got a question for you.
Yeah, maybe this is like
I can sub in.
Cards.
It's make your own, like wild card, like do your own.
Yeah.
So we know that, well, supposedly, clubs that aren't in leagues will get relegated. We know that once progression starts, players in packs will also age. So does that change the valuation of packs that people resell on secondary marketplace from early adopters? Will there be a way to identify if those packs have players that are already aging in them? Is it just something that we have to assume happens? How does that, because that pack, say a pack from a year ago that's not been opened yet, might have a 16-year-old in it, but I guess the players are locked to the pack, not they pull from a pool, isn't it? They don't pick from a pool.
I guess. Picked from those. Yeah, it will impact it slightly, I think, but not too much, because you still have a pretty good shot at a very young player, and whether they are 16, 17, 18, or 20, 21, 22. Yeah. I think for people like us who've been with MFL from like almost the first player drop, we thought like 21-year-olds were grandpas, right? In that
and
phase.
Now we're like, give me another 21-year-old.
Yeah, now 21 is already like, oh, that's actually pretty young. You can get like more than 10 seasons out of that guy, at least. So I think we'll have a bit more of this shift, and we'll see 20, 21-year-olds as young. So I think valuation wouldn't change that much. You still get a shot at having a 20, 19-year-old.
Yeah.
So I don't think too much change.
Yeah. I wonder if there'll be like a little graphic or like something when you open the player that shows that he's... you don't need to know if he's aged or not, really, do you? Because it will just appear, but it could be worth noting from like a potential point of view, maybe, if the player's aged from a pack. I don't know. Number two. Number two is from MJ Gaming Network, one of our new users. Oh, he kind of asked what we answered before. Is chemistry a factor in player performance? So we answered that one before. Not at the moment, probably. But might be in the future.
Yeah.
But there's no guarantee on if that will be a thing or when it will happen.
I think it's in the white paper.
Okay. It's a when, not if. There we go. It's a when,
I think
not an if.
Eventually it's one of the things they want to add, but we don't know when.
When? 25.
25 is from Dr. Petit. Very easy one. What is the maximum? Oh no, actually not. What is the maximum age of players? So well, right now it's 28, but with player progression, and what is the maximum age?
I think it's like 40. Is it not 40 or something like that?
Yeah, 40 or 42. But is it in the white paper?
I think it might be 42, yeah. Because in the white paper, they've got a graphic which shows them going up to 40. Yeah, we know there's longevity, which is 0 to 10.
Yeah.
And I think players can start retiring at 32. So if we assume it's a year per longevity score, then 42. Yeah, 42.
But I can imagine that's very rare.
Yeah, it's on a bell. It'll be on a bell curve.
Yeah.
So most will retire 30, 34, 36. Some will retire super early, some will retire super late, but they are niche percentages.
Yeah, you can have a Buffon in there.
Yeah.
Okay,
number 9, please.
Number 9 from Vogon. What should I do to avoid relegation? Nice one. Stack, I guess.
To avoid relegation, just stack your teams. But
I guess, and maybe if you're not, maybe park the bus if you are not able to stack and you have a lot of bad players. Maybe
to avoid relegation, I think you should have an average team for your division.
Yeah, of course. You need to have
to avoid relegation.
Yeah, the easiest is stack it. But what if you are a very small club or agent and you have one of the worst teams in the league? What can you do then to avoid relegation?
Hope and pray to the engine that you get some results.
Yeah, well, do some testing with like some kind of opportunistic tactics, I would call it.
Try and get in some stronger players in the transfer window. That's what
or just reach out to agents. Maybe do like those kind of loans, right? In real life, get some slightly better players in who you promise to play all the time.
Yeah.
But I guess the easiest is to stack. It will be most people's answer. Yeah. Okay.
Number 10, please. One literally above it.
Number 10 from Magneto. When progression comes, you will need to consider how to build your squad properly, as not all players will be able to play in every match. How do you build a balanced squad when progression comes? Kind of when we talked about also in the previous episode. What would you say how to build a balanced squad considering progression?
Yeah, I think we'll focus on the player progression from the training side, the bit you actually can influence, because the player progression from playing matches is influenced by a competition which you have no influence on what that's going to be. Someone could stack it and you could do really well. Someone could be a stinky squad and you don't get as much progression. But building a balanced squad for yourself for training XP, which is 50% of progression or XP, consider the XP a player earns is based on the average overall the top 16 players. So look at the top 16 players, get the average overall, and then refer to the white paper graphic where it tells you if a player is below or equal to 0 of the overall, if they're over that by 2, over it by 4, what the penalty is. Understand it, because a 2 overall difference is a -1%. So it's not that's not a massive amount. A positive, a +4 is only -2%. So, it's when you get into the higher numbers, but understand what your 16 player overall average is and then be able to play from there.
Yeah, I guess that's the answer. Just balanced. What you kind of said, how to build a balanced squad is by kind of having players of similar level in there, which is also similar to competition in your league. And so that will help you a lot with progression. Yeah. I guess.
And hope for a competitive league in terms of no one's stacked it completely. Well, if anyone's stacked it, you don't lose anything.
No, exactly. That only helps you.
You hope that you're in a team where you're not this really strong one.
Yes.
Because then if you don't promote, don't get promotion and you are the stacked one, then you're in stinky trouble. Right, number 7, please.
7 is from someone you know well.
Plank from Waterloo.
From Plank Pot. This is a nice one. If you were to restart your MFL career with only one piece of knowledge you have now, what would it be? I think I know my answer.
Go on, you go first then. You go first.
Well, just buy up all those rares at those crazy low prices and max out on packs.
But no, if you restart your career now.
So
you
now
can't buy those rares. I think that's
okay.
I've interpreted it. If not, I would agree with you. Buy up all the rare players.
No,
but if you're restarting your career right now with something you've learned, that's how I interpret it.
With only one thing, it's a bit hard. Like,
if
you started now with only one thing you learned, but it's like kind of hard because
I've quite liked how
if you would start it right now, you have to forget all the other things, or just what you know. Well, what I said before, just your club. Get your club of the marketplace and rebrand it, and not from a pack. My first clubs I got from those packs. Well, I should have waited for marketplace and just cherry pick club for a lower price. So I would not buy the club pack. I would get my club from the marketplace.
Yeah, if you want to be like the most cost effective way to play is just to not buy packs and just to buy off the marketplace, because you get better deals and you can negotiate prices then. I don't really know. I've quite liked the way I've played MFL. Like, I've only got 2 clubs. I had 1, then got 2, and I've kept with it. With only one piece of knowledge you have now, what would be like a best piece of knowledge that if I had to restart, I'd want to know still? Crikey.
Very difficult.
I was going to say about the Misfits, because back in the day I used to look at the Misfit players loads. I think if I still had that, you could still pick up some gems from the marketplace, and you can not outsmart, but you can pick up players who are better in other positions. And if you don't know that's a thing, then you might get caught out, or you might underprice someone or someone like that. So knowledge of secondary and tertiary, knowledge of position familiarity. One thing I'd probably want to know from the start and keep.
Misfit scouting.
Yeah, misfit scouting. Number 3.
Number 3 is from your referral, Skirata. What's one feature you two both would want to be added in for season 1? Can pick the same thing. So I guess this is a new feature.
Can we agree to say a feature that we know is definitely not coming? Does that make sense? So we know it's not like individual player instructions. I'm not saying that's coming, but or promotion, relegation, something like that. We've got something completely different, right?
Yeah, something that's probably not going to be part of season 1 that we could add to it.
Oh,
so what would you add?
What would I add? What would I add? I would love to see team of the week and team of the season based on match ratings. I'd love to see something along those lines. Maybe not a massive feature, but I think would be a really neat addition to utilising sort of the match ratings and showing off the good players.
Nice. I would do a bit more personalization of the matches.
Yeah, I like
that. Stadium name.
When ref.
That you can kind of choose, like, how are your fans called, and that they can kind of add it in the commentary, or like some chants, or I don't know, a bit more bit more flavor, right? My favorite word.
Yeah.
In terms of the match experience, with like a little stadium where the match is in, or the name of the stadium, the pitch, things like that. So a bit more personalization.
I like that. Just a quick one on nicknames. I saw that Duff, Apollo Sport Group, replied to one of our podcast tweets, and he put, was catching up on the podcast. And then I think we talked about like nicknames and things on that one.
Yeah.
And he put, perhaps Jimbo 27 or Jimbo Ultras should be called. Do you know what he put? He put the Verniacs for the Wyverns, or he put, this one cracked me up, the Wensum Heads.
The Wensum Heads.
Or maybe it gets open to a list of naming contest. But yeah, the nicknames, the stadium. I think anything that personalization, I think would be great.
Yes.
You said it adds much more flavour, and you feel much more connected to the club, and you feel more attached to it. And if you feel attached and having more fun, then you're more likely to, I guess, NFL side maybe spend money and stay. That was number 3, right? 22.
22 is from Cedric, 1993. Why not 3D yet? So it's a bit like
that is a cracking question. That is a cracking question.
When 3D and why not 3D yet?
That is a cracking question. Why have we not got 3D yet? Yeah, I don't know either. I'm really disappointed. I think we should have 3D right now. It surely only takes a couple of days to develop.
I quite like 2D. Even when I play Football Manager, I still play 2D just for nostalgia's sake. So I don't know if like a crappy 3D is so much better than just nice 2D. So why not? Because we like 2D also.
Yeah, I do like the 2D. I like it. I do like it. I'm not demanding a when 3D yet, because I don't think it will benefit. That's just a visual thing. Where this one 2D means more. 21.
21. So this I can flex my French now, and I'll translate it for you. So number 11 said, sera-t-il possible d'effectuer des remplacements en plein match? So it's, will it be possible to do changes during the match? Subs.
Okay. Will you be able to do subs during the match? I think unless I've missed something, I don't know is the answer.
The answer is we don't know. Will it be possible? Yeah. Again, with the chemistry, possibly. Like, yes, eventually it will be possible.
Yeah, I'd like to say, I guess there's 2 possible routes they can go down. Is that you can do auto subs and set them before the game starts, or could you do them whilst the game's on? The argument when the game's on is that unless both people are there, someone gets an advantage, potentially. But I don't really know the ins and outs of this, but top 11 you can make subs during the match, and that's against another person as well. So I don't really know. I don't know how that much influences the game and things like that, but yeah. Maybe it's down. Maybe it's before the game. You could say, if I'm 1-0 up, 2-0 up in the 60th minute, take out my centre attacking midfielder and put a centre mid on, put a CDM on, that sort of thing. You can say that maybe.
Yeah, I think this is what we might see. Is like some preset subs, and this will help with your energy management, right? And I do agree that if you do really live subs, which can then also become live tactical management, this will really it will kind of be an advantage to people who are in the right time zone or who have just way more time to play MFL. And I don't know if that's great that you would give them that benefit. So I would say just preset tactics, preset subs, preset changes would be good. Like if you go down, you go for tactic 2. If you are like by minute 70, you're still 1-0 down, do tactic 2 with those subs, like something like that preset.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what I think. Yeah, it says preset subs, preset. Next one, come down to our final 5. Our final 5 at the back.
We can finish it.
Your favourite. Number 28.
28 is from Porto Vermelho. What is, in your opinion, the best age to buy a player? So keeping
16.
in mind, but also keeping in mind to have a good quality price comparison. And I like that addition because I do feel that 16-year-olds are kind of overpriced compared to maybe 19, 20-year-olds. I feel like 16 get this huge premium, while then 19 is already way less of a premium.
Yeah.
So
I think 16, 17 carry massive premiums with them, and 18, not so much, and then 19 a little bit more or a little bit less. But I think one thing that I saw that was it Fragioka was talking about in Discord was, well, actually, the players which technically would have the most value or the best value or good quality in this sense would be ones that are young, but their strongest attribute isn't like their highest one, if that makes sense. So if the centre back's defence isn't ridiculously high, but they still have a good overall, when player progression comes, that defence, well, that will increase at a faster rate than, say, shooting will. Therefore, it will scale quicker and it will become stronger. Do you see what I'm getting at there?
Yeah, but does that change the price of the age?
I'm saying it would change the price.
No, but like the age. So it's like, what's the best age to buy quality?
The best age is 60. The next best is 70. The next best is
80. I don't agree. I think right now, current market, I would say 20-year-olds are. But
then keeping in mind price, I think 20 to 24 is the best at the moment. I think 22, 23 is my sweet spot right now.
Okay, but your argument is that 16-year-olds could have this way bigger bonus.
I think that's just anything like 20 below. Like if one of their strongest attributes isn't one of their highest ones, but it makes up their overall the most, then could that scale up quicker and their overall will rank up higher? That's just something to consider.
Yeah, but I would say, well, we agree like 20. I think 20 is when people are not putting that premium on there, but he still has way more years in him plus potential. So I would say for 20 is the best. Next
one, what was that? 28. Number 8, please.
8. Atomic Storm. How is changing the game engine? It's a very
with the arrival of 2D.
With the arrival, how? Okay, well, the game engine changed. How is it changing with 2D, or did it change? It's a bit hard to answer this question.
I think it's hard to answer, but we've noticed more about the engine from the 2D visual, which has helped influence the game engine changes. So like wingers or poor defensive clearances, which have been touched up on.
Yeah, so of course with 2D, the engine also changes because we can give better feedback. We can have a different gameplay.
Yeah.
So of course it has a huge impact. And 2D is just a visualization of what's happening. What was already happening in the background before.
Yeah.
So we can make it more realistic compared to IRL, I think.
Yeah.
So it is, of course, major impact. That's just the answer.
Unlucky for some, number 13.
13, Smoggy Pedro. This is a nice one. Who's been your favorite guest of 2024 on the podcast? Tricky. Do we have favorites?
Do we take the political answer here and say everyone's our favorite? No.
Of course, but what was maybe?
Of course, everyone's our favorite.
Of course, everyone. What is there? But is there maybe one or two that stood out for some reason to you?
One that kind of often sits in my mind, just because of how different the conversation was and how thought out it was someone like it was Tingus Pingus, and how it was all of the social media side to running the club, and how he wants to build that up, and how that can brand more like the brand approach to MFL and the tools and pieces that he uses for that, and his strategy and how that revolves around that as well. And I think it was a unique twist on a manager spotlight that we'd not seen before. So I found that really interesting. And one of my favourite of this calendar year. If I had to be harsh and pick one, but I don't like. I don't want to.
Yeah, of course. I think all conversations have something special and are fun, and we have so many guests. It's almost hard to remember all the great conversations we had. Maybe like for me, 408 Sauce was also fun to talk about his real life soccer coaching. I say soccer because he's American.
Yeah, I'll allow
it. So his real life coaching and that he's like doing that, and then also in MFL, and then kind of this whole picture of real life and the game, and that was just a great conversation, I think. But yeah, again, we have so many fun guests, so hard to pick.
18.
18 is you're missing some teeth or flunking around. He said when in country tournaments. So I guess only English teams or French teams.
When in country tournaments. No Scooby-Doo. I ain't got a clue. Go back to the chemistry one again. It's probably a matter of not if, but more when, but we don't really have a clue.
Yeah, but it's definitely something.
And how it all works out. Cause
like kind of regional tournaments or in country. But yeah. It will be sometime, someday, but definitely not short term, I think.
Yeah. Number 11, please.
11, Montreal MFC. What was the deciding factor for you to start playing MFL? Ooh, tough.
My deciding factor was that at the time, I still am, I was into Top Shot, and I'd sort of got in and then evacuated from Top Shot before everything imploded. And I'd always really wanted to, Web3 and all that sort of stuff has been a passion of mine. I enjoy it. I understand it. I have fun with the researching, the being involved with it all and seeing what's going on in the spaces. And then to combine that with my biggest passion other than that, which is football. Football is like my life essentially. To combine it with that, I just thought that was a nail on the head. The fact that it was an NFT game of a football manager. So it was my two passions put together basically. And it made complete sense to jump in and start playing. I knew I'd like it. Even before playing it, I knew I'd like it.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's kind of a lot of things coming together. One was that I was kind of also on this journey of Web3 and NFTs, and it sounded really good to me. But I was also still very skeptical. So I thought, like, I need to find some super small scale thing, and that I can really get deep, like kind of be a part of that, and then really experience on the micro level if NFTs are really a thing or just a hype. So that was kind of my personal mission. And of course, I also love football and football management. So then when I found MFL, it was like really like at the right moment, the right time, combining all those things. Plus, then I read the white paper and I was really like, this sounds amazing. These guys get it. So it was like, I wanted to find something like MFL, and it's like matches all my interests, plus the white paper then pushed me over the line. Like, these guys know what they're doing. This has so much potential. So I want to be part of that journey.
And then the final one, which I believe is the final, number 26, please.
26, Tulip Token MFC. Which attribute is the most underrated to calculate the overall on each position?
Each position?
Let's not do each position. But is there some positions where you feel like the attribute is kind of underrated in the overall calculation, or maybe overrated? I have a good example, I think, for an overrated.
I think an underrated, people can agree on, is the centre mid, left mid, right mid position with the pace being 0%.
That's underrated.
Yeah. I think that's heavily underrated, especially for the wide midfielders. Heavily underrated.
Yes. In general, I think those two are the most weird ones, left mid and right mid. They're also the highest misfit ratio.
Yep.
Sometimes their defense is super low, so they are really this misfit, and they have super high dribbling, super high passing, high pace, high shooting, but then defense low, so they have low overall. But also, if their shooting is low, that really drags down their rating. Well, they're still a great player, and they don't need to shoot. You have your strikers and your cam and to shoot. So I think that role is too big. So the right mid, left mid is really weird. With like shooting being too much, pace not playing a role, defense playing a huge role. So I think that,
I think I'm just looking at the matrix again now. I think that the CDMs, their dribbling percentage is higher than their physical, and I thought
it's also
physical.
odd.
I would think CDM maybe like they are both the same, or or the passing for a CDM is 28% of the overall, whereas for a centre mid it's 43%. And I'd like to, in my head, a CDM I've always got physical, good defending, and can pass. Mm-hmm. That's my 3 key attributes for a CDM. I don't really care much about dribbling in a CDM. That's what I give it to the cam or the centre mid or the wide midfielder to do that bit. So the centre mid with the pace, and then for me the CDM with the physical and the passing seem a bit underrated.
Good answer. Yeah, I agree. So those are all the questions. We've done all of them, and now time to spin the wheel. We have 2 players. One is your, was it 65 or 66 goalie? Right, 20 years old.
Yeah, I can just double check.
And I have a 63 rated centre mid, 21-year-old.
We're going to now spin the wheel for the 66 rated goalkeeper, age 20, and the 63 rated centre mid, age 21. Calva, who should we give away first, 63 or the 66?
Let's start with 63.
63, all right. And give me a number between 1 and 5, please, mate. What number between 1 and 5?
3.
1, 2, 3. Spin, spin, spin.
Spin.
So we're spinning the numbers that we've given for every question, then we're just going to match the 2 up together. So, 21, what's 9 plus 10?
21.
21.
So 21 is Tai 11 or Je te bats LCT, a lot of combinations, or at Denarno T. So
congratulations.
We will reach out to you about this.
Yes.
Player 63 rated CM.
Calva will reach out to you for that one because that's your player.
That's my player to give away.
And then for my 66 rated goalkeeper, age 20, Portugal. Good man, this guy's. 1 and 5 again, Calva?
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'll remove 21 from there. So we've got a fresh winner. There we go. Spin, spin, spin. And it's going to land on number 28.
28, the last one. So this was Porto Vermelho.
Vermelho with
club
was that the last question? No, it wasn't the last question. One of the last ones.
It was the last question.
Yeah. So yes, congratulations to you. I will be in contact either on Twitter or Discord to trade you over your player, which I've got to figure out. That's on floaty now, isn't it? Will it have to be like a 0.01 offer or something? How do we?
Yeah, on floaty.
Yeah, we'll have to test a few. Maybe we'll have to test a few with the trading. But yeah, we'll bring the episode to a close. Hashtag time. We had a couple of questions on when 3D, and now we've got 2D. But actually, the real alpha comes when we get 4D. Yeah, wrap your head around that one, folks. When 4D. So hashtag will be when 4D. I want you spamming it, messaging it within the Discord, and also on Twitter. If you put it on Twitter, tag us. Hashtag at the WhenDirtCast and hashtag when at WhenDirtCast on Twitter. Hashtag when 4D. Hope you enjoyed this autumn Q&A. It's been really fun to do. Thank you all so very much for your questions, and for those 2 very lucky people who won each of the players. We will be in contact with you to trade those over. We'll be back again next week with the full pods. If our schedule is correct, it might be a juicy one as well. So keep your ears. I can't think of the next word, but keep a lookout. Make sure you're ready for the next episode. It's going to be a good one. So our schedule says. But without further ado, thank you all so very much for listening. Hashtag when4D, and we'll catch you this time next week on an episode of the WhenDirtCast. Thank you for listening.